And we are back with Off the Hook Showdown. We are just in time for the Losers Bracket Finals between Daycare and Spellbound. We have quite the matchup ahead of these teams. Both of them fighting it out for their spot in the final. Potentially a chance to win some of that sweet, sweet prize money. Got a prediction going in chat as well. These two teams are both Div 1 Oceanic teams, both fairly evenly seeded throughout the course of their gameplay. This is going to be some tough back and forth.
Yes, it's going to be a very tough back and forth, both teams. We've seen a lot of Daycare on this stream so far. They've really shown themselves to be a very strong team, being able to lock out the opponent, being able to take a lot of space very quickly, very aggressively too. So we're hoping to see a pretty similar showing from Spellbound. Let's have a look at Spellbound's team as we've gone over Daycare enough. We've got here Drago, Cupid, J-Splat, and another Drago. Oh, that's Drago's BF actually, and Drago. Good for them.
Yeah, I've got Nether on here, so.
Oh,
maybe that's just looking at the sign-ups on Sendo. We've got Nether and Drago.
Okay, well on my screen it says Drago's BF for some reason.
Oh, well that's cute.
Yeah,
sure, why not?
Even if I refresh it, it still says Drago's BF. That's crazy.
There you go. Let's just hope we don't get Drago and Draco confused. As we jump into this first game, here we go. Alright, look at these weapons. We've got a double slosher comp coming out from Spellbound. You love to see something so ballsy.
I mean, yeah, I think it can especially work as the sloshing machine is able to get pretty good damage on a direct and pretty good damage on an indirect too. So being able to, you can even follow that up with a slosher immediately. But I think that's Daycare has taken a very early cap of the zone. The Gal goes down to the slosher there, even with the wall in front of them.
Yeah, impressive stuff. We've got a pretty good situation for Daycare here. They are able to get back in control of the zone and get a few more points before losing it. They've got Tactical out as well, so they will be back very quickly after losing 2 players. And we should just see a lot of neutral fights and trades in the next 30 seconds here.
Yeah, and immediately Spellbound has retaken the zone, is able to get through their penalty very quickly as they didn't have too much of it. But Daycare immediately comes in for another recap. Neither team getting a very significant lead so far.
Yeah, I mean, like, Snipe Rider does allow your team to push up a bit further, but both of these teams have one, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. Roller's going to be able to get nice and aggressive on the front line, but doesn't quite find it. Draco also going down. Jay managing to secure a 3rd splat for the team. That should be control, and they managed to pick up the Snipe Rider before they can escape. That's a 4-player down situation. It was very staggered, which means the respawn is going to be staggered as well. Got a couple specials on hand because of the Tactical, and wow, that Crab Tank managing to survive all that piercing damage, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, but unable to get too much value from the Crab as it had to run away from those strikes and whales. Now, Daycare has a pretty hard time trying to get back into the zone, but we see, what is this? Yeah, Mahi has dropped the water, and now the map is a lot more open for a lot more flanks, a lot more off angles here. Daycare in control of the zone, ticking away at their penalty, but they're just having a hard time of really pushing up with that space and with that control.
Yeah, Big Bubbler doesn't save them on the side there, and we've got both of the sloshers teaming up along the right side of the map here. They are getting whaled out, which means their location has been revealed, and we've got 2 shooters coming in from the right side of Daycare's side of the map. And this is what I worry about with Spellbound's comp, is they don't have a lot of direct pressure, and that's something that Daycare have in spades, which means they're going to be able to get a bit more aggressive here and make those retakes happen a bit faster than the other team would.
Yeah, the roller there is able to get a pretty easy pick against, I think, I'm not entirely sure who that was, but it was a pretty easy pick there. But Daycare goes 2 down to the Zuger, I think, there. The roller coming from with the bubble, not really able to save much there as just Spellbound just immediately retakes zone.
Yeah, Splashfall's not going to do much to defend against a double slosher comp, which means that we are going to see a bit more control for Spellbound and a few more points off that penalty. The strikes will get neutral, but they won't be able to hold, especially with no players in position to retake that. We do see neutral as Crab Tank comes out to apply some pressure. We see Spellbound changing their focus from the zone to their opponents. Can they get the splats they need to keep scoring points? No, they've lost 3 players. They've essentially lost all 4. We're going to see Daycare now in control and potentially attempting to lock out.
Yeah, with not too much of a sizable lead from Spellbound, they really have to get in before Daycare can kick through that penalty, which they already have, and that is basically just a lead change there, as Spellbound would not be able to get in quick enough. Yeah, and we see here, even though that 2 of the team members on both sides were down, that very crucial amount of time that Daycare bought them themselves, just paying off there.
Yeah, and with such a razor-thin scoreline, you don't want to be too you don't want to be superfluous with your time. You don't have a lot to spare. That's the lead there for Spellbound. They're in a good position here in mid. They've got a nice wide spread of coverage, so they're going to be able to catch any of the players who'd make a dash for the zone, which means that Daycare are going to need to focus on splats instead. That will mean a few more points on the board for Spellbound.
Yeah, a few more points, but 3 were just down there on the side of Spellbound. Daycare able to, get that cap, being able to put that penalty onto Spellbound, but with very little time remaining, they are ticking away actual points and not just their penalty. They might be able to get a lead change here if they can keep the pressure up a little bit. The strikes come out there to prevent anyone from dropping down too much. Counter strikes coming up, but it's going to be too late. Daycare has taken the lead, unfortunately, for Spellbound, and that is game to Daycare.
Yeah, and Spellbound, unfortunately, they don't have the ink cover that the other team has, so in a straight turfing battle, they do not win, as we saw in those closing moments there. So that's going to be Daycare taking the first point as we move through to the second game of this best of 5 losers bracket final.
Now, that was a pretty close game there, so we might actually see a game 5 if things are pretty even going forward, just like in that match, as Daycare was only able to barely squeeze a lead out against Spellbound.
Especially because we do have counterpicking in play. Counterpicking does always push us closer to a game 5, because teams will get to play the maps that they like to play after losing a game, so you tend to see losses alternate when the skill level is even. Looking at our counterpick map list now, what do we think we will see from Spellbound with their style of play? I'm thinking tower control.
Yeah, tower control really favors the buckets, as it can really hit over ledges, especially over the tower ledge, as that small little ledge is a big problem for a lot of weapons, I've found in my experience. So the bucket being able to hit over that, the sloshing machine being able to hit over that is pretty important, but Daycare do have a blaster player for a lot more AoE damage on that tower.
And they really popped off in some of our earlier games, so that will be a cause for concern for Spellbound. Do we have a map pick yet? No, it looks like Spellbound are taking their time on this one. They want to make sure that they get it right. They happen to lose a counter pick, it's a lot more of an uphill battle in the back half of the set, so they're taking their time to make sure they get this one just right.
Yeah. Do we think they might choose maybe another mode, maybe a Raymaker or a Clan Blitz game, maybe?
I'm feeling Tower Control Mako Mart. I'm looking at this map list, and I feel like that's the kind of map we will see. Something that is very routinely played, something that these players will feel quite a lot of confidence in.
Yes, a lot of shopping trips, it seems, this stream.
Yeah, you just get home delivery. You don't have to even worry about going to Mako Mart. It gets really busy this time of year.
Exactly.
Okay, no map pick yet. Looks like they're really taking their time with this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices that they do have ready to go. And we do have the counter pick in. It is Splat Zone's Manta Maria. Oh my god. Manta Maria.
I don't think I ever would have guessed this. If you gave me 10 guesses, I don't think I'd pick this one.
Somewhere deep in my heart, I always hope for Manta Maria. So I'm always winning if the unlikely choices happened. I love Manta Maria. It's such a fun map, a really good map for edit. And I think Daycare at least has an edit in their pockets ready to go. I think Draco was on the edit last time, or if I'm thinking of a different team, maybe. I don't know. Manta Maria just gets my brain in a scramble.
On the edit. I think you're right on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can see why this map was picked as well. We've got a lot of short walls, and short walls definitely benefit slosher players. That's just a staple of the game. But yeah, I don't know if Splat Zones was the way to go. I feel like, I mean, if they really wanted Manta, it may have been the best choice, but I guess we'll see. I'm not confident in Spellbound's pick here.
Ooh, but I am. I'm always confident. If a team chooses Manta Maria, you know they're confident, because no one would choose Manta Maria if they're not confident. Okay.
I mean, that's fair. I can see the reasoning there. I mean, maybe you're just hoping that you're more confident than your opponent, right? Like, doesn't matter if you're not confident if your opponent is very trash at the map.
Yes, it's always it could always just come down to, like, how well do you know a map, and how well does your opponent know a map? And if you choose a map that they don't know that well, but you know a little bit, that little bit of knowledge helps a lot in this game.
Something I'm thinking about as well, there is merit to picking a 2-zone map. This map is a lot harder to stay in control of because the zones are a little bit far apart and fairly large for a 2-zone map. So it does take a bit of work to really capture both of those zones. And maybe Spellbound are just trying to slow down the game a bit and make sure that knockouts aren't going to be on the table.
No edit pick from either team here. A very missed opportunity, as edit is very strong on those grades. But we do see
a true edit player.
Yeah, both teams have elected to come for a pencil pick, it seems. Less strong, but still able to take very good positions on the grades. It's just you can't really take advantage of that huge height that the grades grants you. Daycare immediately coming in with a very strong hold over mid, able to get the first points on the board. I think that's Tiger on the roller, taking cut, having to jump out, and now things are happening here. The roller gets a pick.
Happening. We've got a lot of splats for Daycare. They've been able to take complete control of the opponent's street. The big bubbler as well going to be securing that control. You can see Sniper Rider on the back line has spotted that the entire team has decided to rotate around the side of the map because they do not want to tussle with the roller. And can you blame them? Strikes are being traded back and forth, so there's not a lot of places to maneuver. Zuka going to be coming out as well, doesn't find any picks with all the specials spent. Are we going to be seeing any amount of control from Spellbound?
I believe there might be, but they are 2 down, unfortunately, and another one goes down. That's 3 down, essentially. We see here the roller immediately taking the cut position, just running around into the enemy bunker, getting a pick on the pen, a very important pick on the pen. That is extremely quick game to Daycare.
You know, I hate to say I told you so, but I was not confident with this map pick, and Daycare absolutely trounced that. They got mid control immediately, they were able to push into the opponent's street without overextending, they were able to rotate around, and when Spellbound made their all-out push with their specials charge from the high ground, it was completely stalled out, and they ran out of specials, ran out of steam, and weren't able to push forward. I mean, if you're gonna pick Manta, you gotta know the ropes.
And it seems that they didn't know the ropes at all. You know, being on a ship, you need to make sure you know your rope and your knots very carefully and very intimately. And they just didn't. You know, they put the mast into full thing. Even I don't know ships that well.
So many nautical puns. I think we should move on. Alright, well, with that being said and done, Daycare now in a 2-0 position. They only need to win one more game, and they are back in the grand final to rematch our mystery team. Spellbound now need to win 3 in a row, and they've only got 1 counter pick to do it. Do you think we're going to see Splat Zones again?
I don't know if we're going to see Splat Zones again. I think 2 Splat Zones games is enough at this point. If they can make it to the next game, we might see a Splat Zones pick from Daycare, as they've done very well on Splat Zones so far during this set. So I think we're probably going to see Tower Control coming out, as we've talked about. Tower Control really benefits Spellbound's team comp. So we'll have to wait and see.
He's hoping. I mean, like, they are mindful, like, Tiger is going to be a problem. on tower control, and they're mindful of that. But I just don't think Splat Zones is the way to go. You know, zones me once, shame on you. Zones me twice, it happens. You don't zones me a third time.
Yeah,
we do have our pick, and oh my goodness, it's tower control on Eeltail Alley.
a very interesting pick on the map list there. Eeltail Alley, you don't see a lot often. It's a very narrow map that allows for a lot of just everything sort of just like in the same spot basically. As there's not a lot of space to move out, especially if you need to take the bridge position. You just have to like, it's basically a 2D platformer there. You just have to like move back and forth really.
I mean, it's a solid pick when you've got a lot of indirect damage on your team, because you're going to be able to get a lot of that splash damage on the team that is grouped up and pushing together. So I can see this as a smart decision. It is tower control. It is a map that tends to be pretty difficult to push far in. So I think this is a wise choice. I'm liking Spellbound's decision here, and I'm very keen to see if it plays in their favor.
Yeah, and Eeltail really does benefit, the buckets really do benefit from Eeltail Alley, as there's a lot of ledges, especially on the bridge, as you can just throw out hitboxes and basically just hit anyone if you're, like, doing the cool, like, flick trick with the bucket, you know, that I don't know how to do.
Alright, well, looking at our weapons here, no changes really from Spellbound. We do have a slight... No, I believe we saw the Neo Splash in the last game as well, so we're sticking to our guns both literally and metaphorically. George does go for the early push against the Crab Tank, but gets flattened. That was ill-fated. Spellbound in a bit more control here early on. Maybe able to be the first ones on the tower if they can push back the enemy in this position.
Yeah, you see here the pen just touches the tower just a little bit, getting the points to 99. Don't know really what that was for. Unfortunately, Gal... Ooh!
Unfortunate, not able to get out in time. I imagine jumping on the tower there was just to do a position check on the opponent, see if they would dive on them in that moment, and they did. And we did see the backup, but it wasn't quite fast enough. Some excellent roller work here for Daycare. It's looking pretty strong for them. They've already cleared the second checkpoint. They are rolling along to the third.
Oh yeah, Roller is putting a lot of work here, just staying around tower in the enemy's court, just like getting very key picks very quickly and very just uncontested it seems. Roller, I'm not sure where the Roller is right now, but that's the sign of a good Roller. Roller on tower with the bubble, getting past the third checkpoint. Very key position to put the bubble. Strikes come out in order to get through the glass, trying to get through. Counter strikes come out, having to force Daycare off the tower, but they are still up with, I think, 3, getting a jump in. Oh, no, that is 2 down. I am speaking too quickly to keep up with the game,
okay.
it seems.
We're getting more jumps on the bridge, so they are not giving up on this push. They're not resetting, and it's working in their favor. Only 2 players left for Daycare to play around with. Sorry, Spellbound to play around with. Daycare in a good position to push this tower once again. With George up there with the splash wall, they are going to be a nuisance to take out without special, and I don't think there's enough time to build special to take it. This is looking like a knockout.
Yeah, the Gal there in a very good position on that little house, little roof area. I'm not entirely sure what it's called.
It might be Snipe, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it could be Snipe. Some maps are weird where Snipe is. That could be Snipe. Even though it's like not really looking over mid at all. But Daycare does take the 3-0 against Spellbound. It seems I was wrong with these back and forth. You know, Spellbound did put up a really big fight, but I think Daycare, after like struggling a bit in that first game to take that lead, they've just like locked in. They really want to get that replay against this mysterious team.
Yeah, it's good you note that, because the first game was really close between these two teams. We had a ton of back and forth, and then we just had 2 pretty clean sweeps. Looks like Spellbound might have lost their nerve, or maybe Daycare figured out how Spellbound's comp worked and started putting the pins in all the right places to make it fall apart.
Yeah, it's very important that if you really want to get a good win against a team, you have to like just put a lock on their comp. You know, neither team really changed up that much in comp-wise, so that could have been Spellbound's biggest mistake, where they kind of like thought that if they could keep going like they did in the first game, then maybe it could work out. but Daycare just clocked that immediately and countered it very effectively.
Alright, well with that done, all that remains is the grand finals between Daycare and our mystery team. We will be back very shortly as we get things set up to show you that. Don't go anywhere.